And we're off. All right, VeeFam. I'm here with another episode of the VeeFam sessions, and I'm super thrilled and excited to be talking with Steph and Manny, creators of the VeeFriends news on Instagram and Twitter and all the places. Steph and Manny, thanks so much for being on.
Thanks for having us. We're excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm so excited to talk to you. And, you guys were on my radar for a while. And usually, I'm really just kind of living in the Twitterverse. But when I did my VeeFriends searching on Instagram, you guys were like the biggest game in town there. So I was happy. I think, Steph, I bumped into you waiting to get into the VCon pre-party.
Oh, yes.
And we did the VCon app swap, and you were gracious enough to make some time. So real quick, could you guys just give me the 55-second kind of cliff notes on, your background, maybe what you guys do professionally and how you ended up in this place, in this world?
Yeah, sure, man. So background, just in medical. I'm a phlebotomist. And a little bit over a year ago, we got introduced to VeeFriends, man, and it was our first take into NFTs, and in fact, it was our first into social media for me personally. Yeah. I had not been on social media at all. I was one of those weird people that was like, it's weird to put my information out there. Like I was closed-minded. I was struggling with that, but Gary Vee was just like really motivating me to push out and to branch out to social media. So that's how we started VeeFriends News, is just by being in the NFT world and seeing that there's a need to keep track of everything, because there's so much going on. There's Discords going on.
Of course.
It's hard to keep track, and I was noticing that it's hard to keep track. So I really just wanted to put out that information and help people out, and it's grown since then.
Yeah, it was about providing utility for people, because so Discord's great. We're not knocking it. We love Discord, but it's hard to keep up sometimes for people who are on the go and who are not fully, into the NFT space, and so to be a quick, okay, you've got 30 seconds to look to see what happened in VeeFriends. Oh, okay, let me go to this page, right? And that's what we're hoping to do, is just for the people that are on the go, like that they don't have hours to sit down and like jump into the Discord and like read everything that Gary's saying and like all the updates. And they have made the channels better on Discord, so that's awesome. Like you can literally click on specific things to find what you're looking for. My background is Spanish language and education, so I was teaching for a while, and then now I work as dispatch for a university. But it's not my dream job. It's just paying the bills right now. So
I get it.
Like the more I learn in the NFT space and social media world, I'm hoping to transition into something in Web3. So the more I put myself out there, hopefully, the more I learn. So yeah, hopefully that answers.
I love that. And I'm kind of, I'm in the same boat as you. I'm 10 years in elementary education trying to transition. So that's fascinating. And it's so funny that, Manny, that this was kind of your first taste of social media. You kind of went all the way. But before we get more into VeeFriends news, let's back up a little. When was the first time you guys heard the name Gary Vee?
Oh man. So I heard it briefly, maybe like a couple years before. I saw some videos where he wasn't afraid to say like fuck and just put himself out there, and I was like, I think I showed her a couple clips.
He did. He was like, you gotta hear this.
Check this guy out. Yeah, and I
was like, he's crazy.
And so yeah, I just heard a couple of his videos and like not like following him like I am today, but yeah, just kind of just really enjoying his videos, his content, and what he had to say. So yeah, a couple of years before VeeFriends, we heard of him.
And so in those 2 years, he pointed out a very important fact. He was like, this guy never asks us to buy anything. And then May or April, he was like, get your ETH ready. This is life-changing. I'm telling you what I'm telling you. And I was like, okay, this is different. This is a little different, and it feels different. And so we were like, you know what? And he's been watching him for a couple years at this point, and I'm like, okay, let's do it. It took a little convincing because it was my savings, right? But he's like, let's do it, and it's been life-changing ever since.
So did you dabble in crypto at all before? Did you get any Bitcoin? No. So this was kind of your first forte into anything in this world. And you like you said, you believed in Gary, and you just felt that there was something different about this. So let's go there. Let's go to, May 5th was the original drop. and you guys ended up, I think your first post is on May 16th on 2021. You said, we got a prudent polar bear. Was that what you minted?
Yes.
Yeah, so we had minted, we accidentally pushed the button multiple times and it minted 2 prudent polar bears right off the gate, like 2 and I was like, we don't get to pick the second one. We just literally have 2 prudent polar bears. And he was like, I don't know what happened. Like, so we ended up minting those 2 and then you flipped a little bit, right? To get into.
Yeah, we sold that one and then we bought like a joyous jellyfish.
And then we just we moved up to a rare from there, I think. Just
okay.
Early in the game,
so
when they weren't so expensive to trade and flip with, because people were selling them like hotcakes right out the gate at the very beginning.
So that's what you did with the second prudent polar bear?
The second, so one of the prudent polar bears we were able to flip into a rare focused falcon, but the other prudent polar bear I lost on the OpenSea blockchain. So I go visit him every once in a while, but I don't have access. I don't have access to my wallet, and there's actually a developer I need to talk to who works for MetaMask because I've been in contact with them for over a year, and our email stream is interesting because I'm like, do not close this ticket. I'm hoping technology catches up. You can follow my trail when he transfers the prudent polar bear to my wallet that I can't access anymore. Basically, long story short, I lost my phone. And when I went to put in my seed phrase to reset my MetaMask, it brought up my account, but it didn't bring up the multiple accounts with my NFT in it. So it's not there. It's not accessible. Nobody else can get to it, but I can't get to it either. So
oh man.
Yeah, it was a pain. And sad.
So, that's devastating.
Yeah.
Well, fingers crossed, like,
yes.
like they say, hopefully that technology will get you there. And like anything else on the blockchain, all the roads lead to you being the owner.
It's true. If you follow it, you can see it.
Oh, wow. So stay tuned for that. Right. I hope that all works out. So you were able to flip into a rare, and you, like, obviously this is your first foray into NFTs. And so you were learning OpenSea. Did you have any kind of like flipping DNA in your past, or you just kind of saw that it was hot and everyone was doing it, so like, let's do this?
I'll let you answer that.
So yeah, I enjoyed the flipping. We did it for a little bit, but I realized that it's not for me. There's like, it's a tough game. It really is, and everybody talks about always the successes and not the losses. And there's a lot of loss in there, and there was too much loss where I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to take the better approach, which is to just really get behind something that I love and just hold on to it until it develops into something.
Yeah.
So you still have the rare?
Yes.
So that's what you stuck with. So we're hodling, and you.
I'm gonna hold what I'm holding.
It took us 3 flips to realize, you know what, we're gonna hold.
This is a lot. Like.
Yeah. And so the first prudent polar bear that we sold, we were on Discord and Gary posted about it. The early days, Gary was posting, oh, this is ridiculous. Whoever's selling this for whatever, go snipe it or whatever.
Yeah.
That prudent polar bear was ours. And I looked at him. We were in the room. I go, Manuel, he's talking about our polar bear. Go on OpenSea right now, right? And like, look at the price. What the heck did we post it at? At this point, I didn't even know nothing. And they swooped it up within seconds. By the time we went back, we had sold it. It was gone. And it was that quick. If Gary posted on Discord, it's gone quick.
Yeah, of course. And now with fat fingering and the bots, like, forget about it.
For sure.
It's come a long way. So interesting. Now, did you guys talk to any family, close friends, like, hey, like, look what we're getting into. We're buying these doodles.
Yes.
Which they were referred to at the time.
That's the truth. Yes, immediately, yeah. I would love to tell everybody about it, and she would kind of say, don't tell people. They're gonna think we're nuts.
We're not.
But me, in my mind, I was like, I know this is gonna be a thing. I want like people to be able to see that this is gonna be a thing. So I showed my close family members. I remember showing them a picture on my phone and asking them, check out this doodle. We just bought it. Guess how much we paid for it.
This was hilarious.
And there would be a guessing game. And right away, they would say, like, oh, you paid 50 cents for it or like $1 for it. And so, like, I would let that marinate in for a little bit. And then I would tell them, how much we actually paid for it. And at that point, like, they go ghost white and they're like, "Are you
I
okay?"
cannot believe
Like,
they thought we were having a crisis. Like they wanted to intervene. Like they were like,
because yeah,
"What are you
we told them we
thinking?"
paid what, $2,000 at the start of it
Because it
for.
went to floor at 2,000. I think mint price
Yeah.
was 2,000 at the time. So
Yeah,
Yep.
so they were definitely shocked when we told them, but
Yeah.
now they know what it
Yeah.
is. We actually took our family members to VCon. They bought their first NFTs. Like, it's a total 360.
It is. They
Wow,
finally
that's
understand it.
fantastic.
So the one who said, "Oh, it's 50 cents or whatever," he was like, "Oh, I get it now. Like this makes so much more sense." And he was able to connect with such beautiful people in the VeeFam community, and it just like opened his horizon to NFTs. And he was like, "Oh, I gotta buy some." So that whole weekend he was buying like rally packs on, you know, and he was like,
Candy Digital,
the Candy Digital, yes. And so he was just like open. He was having a good time with it, and we're like, you know, and this is all a year later, so it worked pretty good.
That's fantastic. So let's go to, like I mentioned, your first post was May 16th on your VeeFriends news. Talk to us about the origin story of this account. I know, Manny, you already mentioned it was kind of your first dabble into social media, but what kind of sparked, like, hey, let's start posting about this?
It was more just, I don't know why, when Gary Vee stood out, and it was just like, you gotta post, you gotta just don't care, and that's kind of what it was. Like, if you see the beginning ones, the pictures were off-centered, like the writing was weird, like
we had weird colors.
It was just throwing it out there, and eventually, I'm a little slow to it, but it started to pick up finally, like over the span of time. But yeah, it was more importantly just putting something out there. It doesn't matter what it was, as long as I put something. That was my goal, at least.
Yeah. So for him, he just started posting. Basically, he started listening to what Gary said. So now that we fully jumped in and we own his VeeFriend, we're like, all right, let's listen to the guru, right, and see what he's got to say.
Right.
And he was telling you got to post, post. So he was learning, and so he's posting, and you can scroll. You probably did. You scrolled all the way down to see, and then the more you post. So I'm posting on TikTok and learning every single day on the editing software there, but the more you post, the more you learn. The more it gets better. The more the colors come in line. The more you find out what people want to see.
Yeah, and people would tell you too. That was amazing. Like, people would just message me and be like, "Oh man, I'd really like to see this more," and I'd hear it from a couple people, and that's what I would do then.
Yeah. We listen.
I love that, because he's always preaching the do. Like, nothing can replace the actual doing and the process of it. So that's amazing. You're living through that, and I'm doing that now with this. Like, it's going to be cringeworthy. It already is, listening to like my first episode of this. Just like my audio's off, like the picture, and you know, it's evolving. So, and you could totally do that. I did, Steph, scroll to the bottom, and you could tell, like, it started with pictures and, you know, just copy, and then evolved into you guys going live with people in the community and the news updates, which is awesome. And, you know, the top 3 sales. So did you guys envision all that at the beginning? Like, we want to do this, this, and this, or did just naturally you guys come up with different ideas based on what was happening in the market?
Yeah, it was more organic and natural. We really, like, that's just my personality too, just to jump in and then like
figure it out later
type of deal. And for good or bad, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't.
And I add balance to that, because that's not my MO. I like to have everything like organized and ready to go. So we kind of try to balance each other out. Now, it makes for an explosion of communication if we're not on the same page, right? Because I'm on the other end and he's on that end. But we kind of worked together through it, right? You were like, what do you think about this? And what do you think? So our name at the beginning was VeeFriends Mammals.
Yeah, because I was sticking towards, like, when they categorized us all into like groups, you know, they had a mammal group, a fish group, and we started VeeFriends.
Right. On the Discord.
Yeah, so we thought, okay, let's name the IG page VeeFriends Mammals, right? And then I go, listen, that doesn't apply to everyone in the VeeFriends community. How do we broaden it so that everyone is like, oh, this is just the mammals section, right, or whatever? But, well, we were already reporting on news, and I thought, listen, VeeFriends News. And so that's kind of how it emerged. It wasn't taken or anything, so we just kind of took that, the title, and started to learn Instagram aggressively, because every day we were posting a couple posts.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Now, at the time, I know, and you guys go way back, like super OG. We're talking May. like the actual month
Yeah.
it came out. Were you part of any of the other communities that evolved during that era, the clubhouses, the early Twitter spaces?
So,
Did you get a
no,
part of
so
any
to
of
tell
that?
you again, like this was our first social media
Yeah.
presence ever. Like I felt
Mm-hmm.
like, to be honest, I felt super weird about it. Like
Yeah.
just being able to connect like that. Now it's like a total different world. Like
Yeah.
we connect so much, we talk to so much, like over the line. But in the beginning, it was foreign for me. It was very different. So at first we didn't connect with nobody. Like we just
Yeah.
kind of stayed to ourselves.
It was a bit overwhelming at first because going from being, you know, relatively private people to like putting everything out there and like it, you know, it gets, there's a vulnerability level just like with you, you know, doing these, which congratulations, and you're gonna love your progress in a year from now. Like it's gonna be amazing. I can't wait to
Thank
see
you.
it. But yeah, there's an evolution that takes place, and sometimes at the very beginning people don't show you grace, right? And so you kind of have to overlook that and just keep going, like no matter what those people are saying at the very beginning. But so when it came to Clubhouse, so when we first jumped in, do you know how many apps I had to download? Oh my God. I needed to get on Twitter. I needed to get on Clubhouse. I had Discord going. And I'm like, how do I keep up? And then Clubhouse went into Twitter Spaces. And so now I have 2 streaming platforms and then they have things going on at the same time. I was a bit overwhelmed. So I try to jump in whenever I can when the community is having stuff and I'm outside of work, you know, and I try to jump in and listen. But I think IG has been our primary.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah. We've been on Clubhouse. We hosted VeeFriends trivia nights on Clubhouse for a while.
I saw that. How was that
experience? Man, it was fun.
Yeah.
We had a blast just putting the questions together. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
it was some people got pretty competitive with it, and it was fun to see that.
It can get competitive, yeah. And so we sent out unofficial VeeFriends merch to the winners, just T-shirts, you know, and so that was fun, the creation part of that. Yeah. And we hosted it on Clubhouse through an app called Kahoot. So he had to design it and get it ready, and that would take us some time too. So this is taking time for you too. This is all like, this takes our time, right? And people don't realize like how much of it we're invested into it, right? Any OG VeeFams is really invested into this thing.
Yeah. And you know, that you're absolutely right. It does take up time, and you know, it's not like you're doing it as a job, but you're treating it as a job. And you know, going back to following Gary's mantra, what he says, like, I'm sure there's days or nights that, you know, you have to edit a post or, you know, do a video, and you know, it's tough to get up and get motivated to do that all the time. But you know, hats off to you guys for doing it. And you know, building up a following takes a lot of time. You know, I retweeted or I tweeted out a snapshot of one of Gary's Wine Library TV videos last week, and it was episode 222, and it had like 4 likes. You know, and it just goes to show you how long you got to stay out at the grind. So, you know, hats off to you guys. And, you know, you do a lot for the community, and one of the greatest communities, if not the greatest, in my opinion. So let's go to another post in the earlier days. On 11/17/21, so November 17th, you guys posted a mini documentary about the .com bubble. And you wrote in the copy, we believe the NFT market will eventually crash, but do not fear, because some NFT projects will be the Amazons and the eBays and make it through the crash. You all already know we believe VeeFriends is going to make it to the other side. Why did you say that at the time? And now, on June 20th, 2022, we're in it. Like, we're in a bear market. So can you comment on why you felt that way then, and have those feelings changed now? And if so, why or why not?
I still feel the same. It's lucky that we got in with Gary Vee, because right away he was already telling us he's been through this before. He's been through the .com bubble. He's been through like where it crashed pretty hard. And he said it's like a repeat. This is going to be no different. There's going to be too many projects, and the ones that are going to make it are the ones that, you know, have that solid community foundation that we have. And Gary is a businessman. I put our trust into him, and I feel like we will make it to the other side. We will be the Disney one day. And again, this is like, again, speaking, you know, 30 years down the line. It's not going to happen in the next couple of years. But no,
Yeah, he basically said 90. He kept saying 90% of projects, 90% of projects are going to fail, right? And now, in the last few months, the more people we mention NFTs to, they're not involved in Discord communities. They haven't bought anything, and the first thing they say is, "I'm going to make an NFT." And so I almost want to cringe, even though I know I'm in the space and I don't want to cringe, because yes, go ahead, do your thing, right? And he has to like remind me. It's kind of like a GoFundMe, right? When GoFundMe started, everybody was like asking for money to start their projects, and that's sort of what NFTs are becoming now. So like you're selling your NFT to fund a project, like for example, feeding people or getting clean water. There's a pirate NFT where you buy her NFT and she sends a portion, to make sure the water's clean. POTUS or something. It's a private one, but a pirate one, not a private one. But so they all have different types of utility. But if you don't understand it and you just come out and you're like, oh, it kind of saturates the market, with kind of crap NFTs. And I hate to say that, but like that deters the mainstream population from wanting to get in, because then they, what are they really investing in? So we wanted to invest in the actual person running the project. So another one of our favorite NFTs is Project Kaizen Impact Theory Keys with Tom Bilyeu.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because I'm betting on Tom. Like, I'm literally betting on Tom. Like, his graphics are amazing. His NFTs are great. But it's Tom that's running the project. So that's what I'm motivated by. And I think for us, in this case, it was Gary that motivated us. And we were like, oh, yeah, this guy's going to get it done. Let's go, right? Like,
you can ride this switcher out.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was fantastic. That was the first time I saw him in person at VCon. And, it takes 8 seconds listening to him. And it just, in your head, like, okay, this guy gets it. I just obviously just saw him through his content and bought in. I got a relentless key. It's just, people either get it or they don't. And Gary is someone that's screaming like community, and even put out a recent piece of content that sums it up perfectly. Like, it is not just a customer base. You need an actual community. So I think you guys do a great job of doing that, not just VeeFriends news. And I know, like, you call yourself Web3 news, which I think in some pieces that I saw, pieces of content, but you guys put a lot out there in your content that is, all encompassing education, wallet security, onboarding, and you're obviously onboarding people in real life too, which is fantastic. But I think people need that, and this is the best. It is truly a community, so it's the best, most comforting, welcoming, place to enter this space that is still a Wild West. You could still lose a lot of money, and so I think it's super important to drive home the sense of community and education. So with that said, what when you hear that word community, what does that mean to you? What does that word mean?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. So let me backtrack for a second. So the Web3 news is what we're calling ourselves on TikTok, so that we can just kind of like grab, because VeeFriends are everywhere, right? But this way we brought in the market a little bit, and we're already reporting on stolen NFTs and different stuff, So if you want to find us on TikTok, it's Web3_news.
And I'll plug all this in the show notes too.
Community for me means people you can call, when you're going through stuff, and like people you can comment about. Like, I can chat with a bunch of people in the community. How was NFT NYC, right? Like, because my FOMO is really bad, and because they know me now for a year and they've been in the space, they're like, oh, let's chat about it, right? Or we recently spoke to one of our friends who called us. He's in Thailand right now, Alwyn. And just being able to connect with people in the community, I looked at him and I go, oh, I have virtual friends now. And it was like, and I know it's such a silly, simple thing, but
it's really hard for me to describe that, because I don't think I really had a good grasp of it until VeeFriends. Like, honestly, it felt foreign. Like, these people that we had no idea that actually like took interest and cared about what we were doing and wanted to support us. It felt weird to me at first.
Yeah.
But I'm learning that's what a community is somebody who does have similar interests and wants to support you and wants to see you, accomplish your goals, and they want to collaborate with you. So that's what I'm kind of learning.
Yeah, again, we're amateurs to this whole thing. Like, we're coming into social media. Like, obviously, the people who have grown big followings on social media know about the community aspect, right? So we jumped in and we started learning about the community aspect, feeling it in real time, like people wanting to support us and we want to support them. We're just such amateurs. We're just not quite sure how. So we're like, how do we do this?
We're in the process.
We're in the process of learning.
Of course.
We'll be better versions of ourselves in a little bit. Like, every time we keep going, you learn something, and it's just you kind of stay motivated to keep going.
I love that. And I just a technical thing, just in case, I think we're going to be okay when this thing releases. Do we mind just panning the camera a little bit towards you, Steph? Manny's incredibly handsome, so I don't want to get it too off him. But there we go. I don't want it. I'm kind of seeing like a third of your face. I don't want it too much either one of the ways. But this is great, and I want to be able to. You guys are just producing gold here, so I don't want to have anyone cut off. Should this get shared? Perfect. Okay. So going back, and I love you guys hit on so many great things that honestly I've dabbled, like I consider myself an amateur too. I think everyone is at this point. But I've been in enough Discords, I've been in enough spaces to just know that there's something different here. The giving more than taking, right? Just offering resources, offering assets, offering places to stay at VCon. Like, the stories are just incredible, and they're never ending, and that's one of the reasons I love doing this, because I hear the stories that don't get maybe the airplay that they normally would. So another post that I saw back in June, over a year ago now, June 16th, you shared a GoFundMe, and you just mentioned GoFundMe, supporting someone named with a Discord named Big Green Rob. Does that ring a bell?
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that? Because that's super early, and that just jumped out to me as like, wow, this is what this VeeFam community is all about. Can you share that story,
for sure,
or what you remember?
Really shared it. But the person behind it that started the page was Amanda DeGardio. She was in the Discord, and I guess she found out about somebody who just completely got his total wallet hacked, and it took all his VeeFriends, and he was a big supporter in the beginning. And so she just wanted to help him out. So she talked with the Discord moderators of VeeFriends. She talked to...
she put the legwork in to try and get him some help. And we thought, well, we can definitely post about this.
At least we can share about it. So we just put it out there and shared. And I guess they ended up funding it. Like, he was able to get some money
back.
And
that's the amazing part of this community. Like, Amanda put in the work.
Took it upon herself.
She felt bad. I mean, obviously, we all feel bad when we get scammed in the space, right? Anyone. I mean, my heart goes out to you because you lose some valuable assets, right? And she did the legwork, and she did it, and she was able to help get this guy back some of his funds. Like, did he get back his VeeFriends? I can't remember.
I can't remember if it was a whole thing or not.
In either case, he got some help from the community, so...
I mean, that's just incredible. You hate to see it at any time, but the fact that was happening at such an early state in this game, and that you guys had your platform to share it, like, that's, as Gary would say, that's the punchline of what we're doing here. Just people helping people, and that's kind of would be a part of my definition of community. So it's just constantly giving. Is there anything, and that's more of the selfless side. Everything's always a little bit selfish and selfless. What would you guys say that you want to get out of this community?
Ooh, great question. I do. Can I backtrack again? I'm sorry. I do want to mention.
Sure, of course.
When I lost my prudent polar bear, this community came together and they heard my story on Clubhouse. And Doreen Cummings, she gave me my NFT ticket because we were going to show up to VeeFriends, to VCon, sorry. And we were going to play rock, paper, scissors to see who was going to go in, right? But we were both going to go to Minneapolis, but we were going to play rock, paper, scissors to see who goes in. And Doreen heard the story, and she, just from like the generosity of her heart, gave me a ticket. And she was like, no. You guys do not need to be playing rock, paper, scissors. you both have to be there. Like, you just both have to be there. So it touched my heart so much. So when you say like the giving in the community, I have it's unreal how much this community gives. Like, and again, amateurs, skeptical, you know, we've been hurt in life like everyone else, you know, and so you're kind of like, ooh, but this community has been amazing. So didn't mean to backtrack.
No, I thank you for, those are the stories I love. I love that. And I think more light needs to be put on the good. Like, there's always, for every scam story out there that gets shared, like, you know, watch out, this is happening, get your wallets. Like, there are, you know, 3 to 10 great stories, great DMs of people offering out their hand to help in any way that they can. I just hear, now that I'm getting one-on-one with so many more people, like, I just hear it over and over again. And I love it. So speaking, backtracking, that would have been an unbelievable Instagram live, though. A piece of content. You guys doing rock, paper, scissors. Who winner goes to VeeFam. Loser has to report from the outside. No. Yeah. You guys, if Doreen didn't step up, someone else would have. Because that's just who we're dealing with here.
That's 100% true, because since then, people kept offering the tickets. Like, I heard what happened, and this was like later when we already got our ticket. And we're like, oh my God, we already got a ticket. But they're like, do you know somebody else who can use it? And that's how we were able to bring our family members.
And now they're in the NFT game space too. So thank you to all the people who gifted us tickets, because it's becoming more mainstream and our family's not laughing at us anymore. So.
No, we even had our nephew. He dressed up as an empathy elephant. He got signed by Gary Vee. Yeah. Like, it was a wild experience. It was so fun.
Yeah.
Amazing. So we could talk about VeeCon. You know, we could do a whole hour just on VeeCon. But to kind of sum up the essence of it, what would you say to someone that maybe passed this year for whatever reason? What would you tell them about VeeCon 2023? Why would someone want to go?
The energy. I think I left so fully charged. Like, I was motivated to do stuff. I was like, I had dreams again. Like, I was like, oh yeah, that's totally possible. And I think it was just like the energy itself of the entire community coming together, and then like meeting everyone IRL. And it was just, it filled my spirit. And I don't want to sound insane, right? But like, the energy from being there just made me say, oh, we got to keep going. Like, this is definitely real. It just motivated you to keep going. And to keep, you know, feeling, I don't know, the energy was insane. It was great. It was like, can I bottle this up and take it with me so that I can remember, you know, to stay focused and to stay motivated and consistent. Those are probably, yeah. Yeah,
no, definitely the energy, talking to people, you know, bringing up ideas, collaborations. And
that's it.
A couple of people we talked to were in the transition where they finally made the jump. When I say the jump, I mean like from working from a job that you don't like just to get bills paid, to making the jump into something that doesn't pay as much, but still allows you to put out what you really want to do. And that was motivating. So definitely in real life experiences and talking to people was up there for VeeCon.
It was motivating for us because we thought, well, listen, you know, if they could do it, we could do it. We can try to find a way to get into the Web3 space somehow, some way. We just have to keep hitting it.
Amazing. And I think you guys are doing it. Like, the new age, the Web3 resume and cover letter is what you're putting out on Web2. It you know, your Instagram, VeeFriends News is your resume. Your Web3 News TikTok, like, that's your resume. So you know, it's just a matter of time, and you're staying consistent. So you know, it's going to happen. Just a quick VeeCon thing, because this came up for me. My wife, I went solo. My wife obviously wanted to go. We have a young one. You know, we had to split up, and I went solo. But I was talking to other people that were in that same boat, but also couples. Did you guys, and this part of me, if it's a little too personal, did you guys stay together the whole time? Because there's so much to do, so much to see. Did you kind of stay together, or did you go and do your own thing and have your own experiences? How did that go logistically?
For the most part, we stayed together up until one part.
I know this part.
So she went live, and she was in the moment, man. She was in the moment.
who weren't at VCon, you know, I wanted to go live to show them the market area. And so I started walking with my phone just live the whole time, right? But I was in the screen, not in like the, if that makes sense. When you're going live and you're,
Gotcha.
you know, it's almost like you have a barrier in front of you to real life, right? Because you're like, it, in my mind anyways. And we got lost. We got separated. And he didn't have his phone.
I didn't have my phone because I gave it to my sister for the ticket to get in. So, yeah, so I was phoneless.
He had no phone.
She's out.
And I'm recording and I turn around and I don't see him and I'm like, oh my gosh. And so, but I'm getting stopped and I'm taking pictures with people and I'm meeting them and I'm like so excited to meet them and I'm like, I asked everyone that I met, have you seen my husband? Have you seen my husband? I can't find him. And they're like, no, we haven't seen him. Finally, he finds a VeeFriend friend, right? Yeah. And lets him use his phone to call. And he's like, I'm here, come find me. And I'm like, oh, thank goodness. Because in this big stadium, I was like, we're not going to find. I was going to go to customer service and have them page him.
I was like, I'm glad she didn't do that.
Can you imagine?
That would have been so amazing.
I was going to say, you should have just hopped on someone's Instagram and popped in their live.
Right. See? And, but yeah, we pretty much did most everything together. Yeah. We're kind of bummed. We missed most of the party, the Thursday night party. The welcome party. Yeah, we were there for like the last hour, but so we missed most of it. We went to the Impact Theory. Tom was hosting some event for the key holders. So we thought, okay, well, VeeFriends is all weekend. Tom's is only this night. We had to, it was a hard decision. A part of us wanted to split up. We were like, one of us will go there, one of us will come here, but we just couldn't see splitting up, huh? We were like, nah, we'll go together. And so.
Interesting. Then that's a funny story too. Of all places not to have your phone, a Web3 conference.
And I'm like, how do you not have your phone? But, you know, we had to make things work and thankfully, again, great community. They let him use the phone because, you know, I was skeptical of scams coming here. You know, everybody was handing out little QR codes, and I was like, nope. I was like, after losing my prudent polar bear, I was like, no, I don't want to click on anything. Like,
right, and there was that happening there too. Wow. Well, yeah. I mean, definitely an unbelievable experience. Like, you know, we don't need to. You know, anyone that's listening to this probably knows how great. Yeah. It is, but yeah, people just have to get there. But I was very interested in people's experience. Like, would you experience it differently alone versus with your spouse or significant other? Because next year is probably going to be myself and my wife. So I was definitely interested in that on a personal note. So thinking about all of the VeeFriends characters, a question that I like to ask people is, which character do you think you guys need to spend more time with?
Ooh.
As far as getting that more of that from that, whatever that character represents in you.
Ooh, this is such a great question because I have like favorite VeeFriends, but what do I need to spend more time on? That's a good question. Ooh. And then there's like 280 of them.
There's a lot.
I'm gonna say the accountability anteater, man. I need some more accountability in my life.
Ooh.
Oh, okay. I like that.
That's a good one. What am I gonna pick?
I'd be right there at that table too.
It's because it's funny, man. Like I struggle with like trying to convince myself that it's okay or that it's not my fault, but like I really need to just see it and learn from it and move on from it. So accountability definitely for me.
I love you. Appreciate you sharing that.
Well, now I'm like, can I pick like 3 of them?
Sure.
Well, so I owned a joyous jellyfish for a bit, and before we flipped that over to the rare focus falcon, which I love. But I told him so we all go through life, right? And I have my history, you know, my childhood, whatever. We all have it. I'm not the exception. But sometimes I can go through stages where I need joy because I'm going through a really depressed state, and again, everyone goes through this. I'm not the exception, and I'm not special. But looking at the joyous jellyfish reminds me it's not that serious. Get some joy, right, and just be okay with it. It'll be fine. And so it just reminded me to like have joy in my life as opposed to dwelling on the negatives that I've had to, I mean, I've already overcome all that. Like, why am I dwelling on that stuff? But sometimes, you know, chemicals get released, you know, your past, hormones, all kinds of stuff. And reminding to keep joy in my life, because it's not that serious, it helps. So the joyous jellyfish is probably, and I know it's probably not you probably want a consistent cougar, because I was thinking about the consistent cougar. And I was like, well, I mean, I can be pretty consistent, you know, and tough to beat a worm from the dirt. Love that VeeFriend. It's one of my favorites.
Interesting.
Because I'm from the dirt, man. Like, we're amateurs. Like, we jumped in and we're like little worms trying to figure it out. And I mean, I'm here for it. The education part is my favorite
just happy
part.
I made it to the party.
Yes, I'm happy we made it to the party.
I love that. Oh, I love that so much. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for being vulnerable and actually putting some thought into that. And yeah, they answer as he says often, like it's both or all of them. Like there's a lot of ingredients to making anything work. So yeah, I know you guys are definitely well on your way. So before we kind of wrap up here with the last section, can you just remind us where we should follow you? Anything you want to plug or shill?
Plug or shill. We haven't figured out the shilling part yet, so but we would love it if anybody could follow us on IG. We are VeeFriends_news, and then on TikTok, which we are learning every single day. Sometimes it takes me 3 hours to put a video together. The other day, it took me 3 hours to put a video together, and then I deleted it. And I'm like, this is... I literally had a tantrum and threw my phone and was like, I'm done, right? Like, I had an emotional outburst because I spent so much time trying to put it together. Anyways, I digress. On TikTok, we are web3_news. We were VeeFriends_news, but we're reporting on more than VeeFriends. We're reporting on Seth Green, you know, and his Bored Ape, Snoop Dogg and his new eatery that he's doing. There's a dessert restaurant. The rarity breakdowns for VeeFriends Series 1, VeeFriends Series 2. So we're, you know, kind of trying to branch out. There's just so much news coming out. Coinbytes releases an insane amount of like news weekly. So I like to regurgitate that on TikTok, you know, translate it. So people can get it fast, quick. Not everyone reads the articles, right? A lot of people spend time on TikTok, and that's where their education comes from. And I do that. So Bingo. I can educate you there, right? Like if you want a quick 1-minute video of what's going on, there you go. It's a total different ballpark from IG. I will say that, because you can't just post pictures like you do on IG. You just can't. You need moving. You need a captivating. Like the first sentence out of your mouth has to be something to catch them, because they're quick to want to swipe, and it'll show you in your analytics. You know,
different ballgame.
Yeah, it's a totally different. But I'm learning. It's a learning curve, and
You're definitely learning and experiencing it too. I'm so happy you shared that about losing your video. I've done multiple times where I've had so many little text boxes that I edit in and then have it perfect, and I go to do it, and like all the text erases. And then like I have to upgrade the app, so I lose that video. Like you have to experience that to really earn your badge to you know, a TikTok creator. It's just part of the deal.
True.
So amazing. So the last portion is kind of a fun thing I like to do. It's called micro macro spitfire. So I'm going to give you some quick little questions, and you can answer you know, a macro yes or no, or a quick one word, or get a really zoom in and get a nice micro detailed answer. And I've never had two people on before, so you guys can jump in or share it. So first one, who is someone that needs to be followed if they're getting into VeeFriends for the first time?
Probably.
Besides VeeFriends News.
Jeremy knows, or wanna be VeeFriend on IG. I would, because he spends a lot of time in the community, and he spends a lot of time visiting everybody's project. So if you want to know, and he does a song and dance for you. So
he does. He's fantastic. I'm actually putting out his episode today. The same day we're recording this. All right. Favorite teacher you had growing up, and one reason why?
We both look at each other like, dang.
I'm gonna say Mrs. West. She didn't like force me to go on the board and do math like Mrs. Paloma did, and like so she would like Miss Paloma would put me up on the I hated math, and to this day I still hate math, and because she would say you're not going to recess until you figure out this long division problem, which now I have my phone and I don't need no long division. Like I literally, when they would tell you you don't have a calculator in your pocket, well I do now. I literally have a calculator in my pocket. So and but like to traumatize a kid like that, I'm like, really, I can't go to recess because I haven't figured out this math problem. And it's not like they were teaching it. So Mrs. West would come in, which is she kind of saved me. She came in and she's like, no, you can't force the kid to do like long division like that. She would accept the fact that I wasn't as fast as the other kids to pick up the math. At that point, I had moved around to like 4 different states, so my timetables, I missed a lot. I missed a lot of the core stuff growing up because we moved I was living in Canada, Boston. I mean, we were all over the place. So by the time Miss Paloma and Miss West got me, I needed help with math, like big time. So Miss West just she mellowed out Miss Paloma, and it kind of helped the situation for me. So I will always be thankful for that because I was ready to give up on math forever. And math you need math. Like if you're going to go buy something, it's 50% off. You need to know the math on that. But anyways, I digress.
I no, thank you for sharing. And I'm sure that affected you as a teacher. And, I believe everyone in the space now is a teacher. And, the Discord thread or, the comment section of your video is the board, right? And people are asking questions, and they need to be handled with, compassion and patience because we're all in different stages, and people, this is their onboarding, like this is their coming out party, which could affect how they navigate the rest of their Web3 education.
It's true. Like TikTok is a rough spot. We have a great community on IG, and our VeeFriends fam comments, and they do great. We had a couple trolls, which we responded totally different to trolls because we thought, yes, we made it. There's a troll in our comment section, right? We were like most people are like, devastated, but we were actually celebrating it. Now on TikTok, they're brutal. I will just say that they're brutal on TikTok. Especially in the NFT space, they use the emoji clown a lot, in the comments and whatnot. And it's just like, okay, well, that's fine. In a couple of years, we'll see how this goes and then see if these comments are any relevant at that point, right? Because the technology is just getting started. So, but yeah, you're right about those comments. That's them asking questions, and that's how we are able to put more content out because they want to know. We'll give it to you.
Yeah, I mean that's people raising their hand, which is harder for some to do than others. All right, fill in the blank here. The time machine tiny ogre can be traded for what in the future?
Very, very lucky black cat.
Ooh, okay, I like it. Friends or The Office?
The Office.
For sure.
Paper Hands Pony or the koala?
Paper Hands.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Paper Hands too. Even though the koala is like a keynote. Anyway, sorry.
No, you could go on. Macro or micro? Gratitude gorilla or patient pig?
Gratitude.
Oh.
You want patient pig?
Oh, I like the gratitude gorilla. I mean, I have to be grateful and everything, but patience, if you don't have patience, I mean, then you can mess up a lot of relationships with that. But I'm going to go with gratitude gorilla.
Amazing. 2-hour group dinner access with Gary. So a group dinner for 2 hours or a 10-minute one-on-one with him.
Probably for me a one-on-one, unless
you're 10 minutes.
You're gonna go. I know that's what I would say too. The 10 minutes one-on-one. I get awkward in groups. I don't mean to be awkward in groups, but like everyone's trying to get their agenda out and everybody's trying to say their stuff, and I'm just like listening and observing, and like I want to give them their space, to talk, but I get weird in groups like that. Not that I can't handle the groups. Don't get me wrong. I can handle the groups, but I think when you're one-on-one with someone, there's a different exchange of energy that takes place with them, and they're able to see you instead of the entire group. They're seeing you, and you're seeing them, and you're exchanging energy one-on-one. I think I would probably do the 10 minutes. Plus this guy is so busy. I would have these questions like quick so that I can like fast spitfire them to him because he's on the go.
Of course, that's very thoughtful. You're absolutely right. And going back to yeah, like Twitter Spaces, I always encourage people to get into Twitter Spaces to hear about the community. But like I said, and I'm beating a dead horse here, but one-on-one conversations is just so different. It's just, you get to go so deep. All right, this is just for this special podcast because I have both of you. This is kind of a 2.0 micro macro. So instead of answering the question, I'm going to give you a VeeFriend, and I want you to say Steph or Manny right away for who best resembles that character, okay? Here we go. You got to go quick, and we'll see if we match. It's like the dating game here. All right. Diamond Hands Hen.
For sure. Yeah.
Patient Panda. Organized Ostrich.
Oh, man. I think that's me, too.
I'm going to get one. I promise. I'll get one.
All right. Steph's on a roll. Decisive Duck.
Decisive Margot.
Oh, yeah, that's totally you. That's all you.
I got one.
Kind Kudu.
Kind. We're both kind. Oh, we both said each other. That's nice.
That's nice. And the last one, Manny, I want you to say one about Steph and vice versa. When you think of your significant other, what character comes to mind?
I know which one for me.
Driven Dragon.
Driven Dragon? Oh, wow. I like that.
Driven.
Thanks. I want to give you like 5 of them. But I'm going to go with You're Gonna Die Fly because you saved my life and I will forever be grateful for that. And You're Gonna Die Fly is at a certain point in my life, I was diagnosed with something and I was getting really sick. And if it wasn't for him saving me, and so we talked about this VeeFriend when it first came out, and it just reminded me of that. And I mean, when your spouse or significant other or anybody you love gets sick, you know, you almost feel helpless, like you can't help them, right? And this man was like, he looked at me and he goes, "You're gonna die." Like he straight up just looked at me and was like, "You're gonna die. If you don't do the things that you need to do, you're gonna die." So when You're Gonna Die Fly came out, I was like, dude, this is perfect. You told me you're gonna die, like you, and I don't know where you got it from, but it saved me. Like it woke me up, and I was like, okay. And I did the work to get better, to get where I'm at now. Without you helping me do that, I had so much brain fog, I probably would not have been able to get there. But that one and kind, you're so kind to people, like kindness right away. Yeah, kind Kudu. Anyways, I don't want to take up your time.
No, that is amazing. My heart's like pounding right now. That's so moving and so amazing. And I now think I have to go to like a couples only VeeFriends podcast. This is going to be tough to outdo. But you guys have been awesome. This was so fun. Anyone listening, please follow VeeFriends_news on Instagram, Web3 News on TikTok, and VeeFriends_news on Twitter as well. 2 great people, 2 great ambassadors to the VeeFam. So I can't thank you guys enough.
This has been so much fun. And when can we have you on our IG live show?
I'm available whenever you just say the word.
We're gonna have to pencil you in and get you on the live on IG. And where can we follow you? Is this like
you can follow me at Mr. Messer on Twitter, MISTIR MESSER, and then I'm on TikTok under the same name. And Mr. Messer on Instagram as well.
And I subscribe
which I don't do as much, but and the VeeFam Sessions podcast on Apple and Spotify. Yes. Thank you.
I subscribe to
but yes, I can't wait to stay connected with you guys. You guys
Thank
are
you
best.
so much for having us. This has been so much fun, and it got our brains working on all those VeeFriends. Like, I love it. That's a great segment.
You guys passed.
Thanks. Good to know.
Thanks so much, guys.
Have a good evening.